in the office, you put in a lot of thoughts. Like it's not just a typical office, right? You walk in the elevator, it's got decor, you've got the morning huddle room. You have one of the columns, it shares your vision or some of the things you want to accomplish. Like, why you do that? Like, how that helps to create culture?
We as company leaders build stories.
Yes.
Our people are a part of those stories.
Yes.
Let's get out there and tell them. And what a better way to tell them than put them up on the walls. Integrate people in the stories. Because they'll say, what's up with that sign? It's all about people. Well, it's a story back in 1994 when we laid off our team, and this is when I learned that lesson. I mean, you've seen the office. It holds 600 people, our 2 offices.
Yeah.
There are so many walls that are all decorated in stories.
Yes.
We have our painted picture wall.
Yes.
We have our wall with our values.
And you have a particular wall. It's almost like your vision. Like it's like can you imagine, right?
Yeah, we have a Can You Imagine wall, which is a massive wall.
Yeah.
It started with a blank wall where we thought, how do we inspire others to dream big within the framework of our company? So Cameron Harold, who was my COO, he said, Brian, you're the vision guy. He goes, I can't envision anything.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean you can't envision? He goes, that's not how my brain works. So I sat him down and I said, envision that if you could go anywhere in the world tomorrow, money wasn't an object, where would you go? And I don't remember his answer. It was 20 years ago or whatever. And he goes, it was probably some tropical spot. Well, who are you with? He lists his girlfriend. What are you drinking? Mai Tai, whatever it is. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Why are you there? What are you celebrating? He gave me this picture that is worth 1,000 words. He gave me his vision. And I said, all you have to do is learn to do that with your business. Now, ironically, he went out and wrote a book called Vivid Vision.
Yeah.
So he figured it out, which is great.
Yes.
But vision is where everything starts. Alice in Wonderland, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Can You Imagine wall and painted picture started from 8 years into the business. I was at $1 million in revenue. And I was like, I don't know how much I'm really having fun here. I had entrepreneurs that I knew through the entrepreneur organization who were in sexier, more glamorous businesses and technology and great valuations.
The hauling junk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what am I going to do? And I was in a bit of a doom loop, feeling depressed, feeling down about I don't have the money, I don't have the education, all that kind of stuff. So I sat on my parents' dock at a summer cottage that they had at Bowen Island, an hour from here, and I took out a sheet of paper, 1 page, double-sided. And I said, okay, stop thinking of negative thoughts of I can't do this, I shouldn't do this, what about? Start thinking of possibility. So I started to feverishly write just what came to my mind. And it started with, we will be in the top 30 metros in North America by the end of 2003. We will be the FedEx of junk removal with clean, shiny trucks, friendly, uniformed drivers. On-time service, upfront rates, we'll be on Oprah, all these things. And I started listing all this stuff out. And I took this double-sided painted picture and I looked at it and reread it and I'm like, wow, I can see this. I can see this happening. My language, if I look back at it, not by design, but by fluke, was not, I hope to be in the top 30 metros, I'm gonna try to be. It was, we will be. So I took this painted picture as a tool and I shared it with people in my company at the time. A bigger company at $1 million. And I had about half the group divide into 2, not really, but just in principle, over an idea of half the people said, Brian, you're smoking hope dope. Like, good luck with whatever you're dreaming because it's not gonna happen. And the other half said, wow, this is really exciting and compelling and I wanna be a part of it. Those people stayed over the coming months. And we don't know how we did it, but we did. We hit the top 30 metros even when we were in only one.
And you put it on the wall, right, as a goal,
We
right?
shared it and we read it constantly and we showed people, if it's to be, it's up to me. We are going to own what's in that painted picture. We don't know how it's gonna happen, but we're gonna make it happen. People thought we were crazy, right? The people that said, what are you smoking? I mean, they weren't just trying to be funny. They were kind of like, how are you gonna get on Oprah? How are you gonna get in top 30 metros? You're only in 1. And they were right. But the people that believed had blind faith in, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna have fun trying. And we did it. And we continue to set painted pictures, and we've got painted pictures for 5 years out for every brand we have.
What are some of the visions you had on that wall? I remember one was you had the Starbucks cup.
Yeah.
Right, that was one of them. Oprah is another one of them, being on Oprah, right?
Yeah. So the Can You Imagine Wall, how it worked for us was it was engaging other people in the businesses.
Especially the team, too.
Yeah. So it started with the story in this Cameron Harold couldn't vision. Once we helped him see, or I helped him see that he could envision something, he's like, wow, we need to put up on the wall big ideas that people want to see happen within the company.
Yeah.
So I started with the Can You Imagine being featured on Oprah because it was in the painted picture. Cameron said, can you imagine if Harvard Business School wrote about our business, about a high school dropout, college dropout? Can you imagine if we were on Dr. Phil?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we got our name on the side of a Starbucks cup across the world? We engaged people. So Andrea Baxter came to me, a marketing manager, and she said, Brian, Starbucks, you might have noticed, have these, at the time, these sayings on the side. They were quotes from famous people, including Oprah. They were authors and actors and actresses and the whole bit.
Yeah.
She goes, we need a quote on the side. And I said, well, how's that going to happen? And she gave me her pitch, and I'm like, I don't know if I see it. She's like, Brian, I see it. And when she got excited about it and I knew she saw it, I reminded myself, okay, as a leader, I need to encourage. She sees it. It doesn't matter that I don't.
Yes.
I'm asking, how can it be done? We don't know, but she sees it happening. So she went out and pitched Starbucks, got in touch with their head office and worked it for a few months, and finally someone said yes, and we ended up on 10 million cups on the tall size cup. And as a high school dropout, Starbucks was kind enough to help me write the quote.
Yes.
But it said something to the effect of, you are what you can't let go of. And it had my name, founder and CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK on the side. And so all I cared about was that it said 1-800-GOT-JUNK. It was like a free ad on these cups.
Yes.
So every time someone would make a Can You Imagine happen, we'd put a green check mark beside it, which told everybody in the company,
We did that. Yeah.
put something up there, dream big, get it up there, boom. You
and
never
these
know,
are
it
not
might just
small
happen.
goals. Like being on Oprah, that's not a small goal. Right?
Totally. And then we set even bigger ones. You know, we said we'd be on the Ellen DeGeneres show. We actually tried for probably 15 years to make it happen.
Yes.
And we didn't spend a ton of money trying or anything like that, but we tried different pitches and angles. And in her last season, we didn't just make it happen once, we did it twice. Yeah. So, and what I love is I had nothing to do with it. The only thing I did was planted a seed. It was my idea to say, can you imagine being on Ellen? I mean, Oprah was retiring and we needed another big show.
Yes.
And this woman, Nadine, in our office during the pandemic, one day she read the painted picture, an old one, that said we'd be on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and it didn't happen. She's like, I'm gonna pick that back up and try. And she pitched several times. And again, during the pandemic, when she had a little more time at home to figure some of these things out, the producer on the other end, when she pitched, goes, funny you just sent me an email. I just had a 1-800-GOT-JUNK truck leave my house. They were amazing. So these little ideas require teamwork.
Yes.
They require time.
Yes.
If our truck didn't do a great job of that producer's home, it wouldn't have gotten the conversation going, where this woman, Gina at Ellen's, like, oh my gosh, maybe there's
Like
something
one
here.
thing leads to another, leads to another.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, when I say it took 8 years to get to $1 million in revenue, that feels very slow, but I needed that time. I needed that time to figure out the business model, to figure out my story, to figure out what would work and what won't, and start to build out this franchise model.
Yes, yes. A round of applause for Brian, first of all.